everyone, I'm Kara Minowie. This is Shell Point Today for the weekend of June 13th, 14th, and 15th. On today's show, Linda Rakos tells us about amazing grains, simple foods that can transform our diets in amazing ways. But first, many of you may remember a trip that Shell Point residents took to see the Lippinzahner stallions as they train for their performances. If you love seeing these white horses, then you're going to love our Saturday DVD selection. It's a Disney classic from 1963 called Miracle of the White Stallions. Set in World War II Austria, it's a retelling of how these horses were saved from destruction by the rapidly advancing Soviet army. Miracle of the White Stallions plays on Saturday at 2 p.m. and at 7 p.m. in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands, and all are welcome. This Sunday is Father's Day, and the Crystal Room is helping you treat that special man in your life by offering extended Sunday brunch. They'll have an impressive array of breakfast favorites, such as Eggs Benedict, omelets, and waffles prepared to order. A carving station will feature prime rib and roast pork tenderloin. And you can also order menu items like grilled mahi-mahi or lobster Newburg. And don't forget the extensive dessert buffet. Enjoy all you can eat at our Father's Day brunch for just $17.50. It happens this Sunday from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Crystal Room. Of course, you don't have to fill your diet with lobster and steak. In fact, the USDA tells us that by eating more whole grains, we can drastically improve our health. But what whole grains are they talking about, and how can we easily work them into our daily meals? Linda Rakos tells us how in a Health Connection class called Amazing Grains, happening next Thursday at 10:15 a.m. in the Social Center. Here's a preview.
The USDA dietary guidelines is always changing and adding and telling us to eat this, don't eat that. But we are going to have a wonderful Health Connection program that's going to focus on grains. The program is going to be called Amazing Grains with Linda Rakos, our very own, to teach us about how we should be adding this into our diet. It'll take place on Thursday, June 19th, 10:15 a.m. in the Social Center. So Linda, we hear about watch your sugar, don't eat so much protein, all this. Now we need to add grains. We've always been told that, but we're really focusing on it, and it's a little bit easier to get and readily available?
It is, and I'm really excited to be doing a class on grains because they are really amazing, and we want to talk about some grains that a lot of people might know about, but probably more than that don't know about. Half of your grains should be whole, and that would be about 3 servings a day for most people. Okay. So the interesting thing about eating grains is that in this country, most of us knew grains as wheat and corn and oats, but a lot of us did not get good whole grains. So we really want to focus on the whole grains. Right. So some really interesting things that you might want to try to vary your grains is I brought a couple of samples along, show and tell. So for example, here is amaranth. And amaranth has been around for thousands of years.
I see here it says circa 6000 BC.
That is right. The Aztecs ate this grain, so it's really good for you. Here's a grain called freekeh. Now,
freekeh, you just gotta like to say it.
I know. And that's like a green wheat, and it's really a tasty grain also.
And high in protein.
High in protein, yes. And the last one that I brought just to show and tell is millet, and millet is a staple grain in many countries around the world, like India, for example, and people have been eating this for years. And I'm going to have some samples for people to look at, and we'll probably have a few cooked up too so they can get some taste, and maybe a few recipes to take home.
Right. Well, Linda, this is going to be great for those of you who are looking to add grains into your diet, eat a little bit healthier. These will be great tips for you. Linda will have some some recipes for you to try?
We will.
All right.
We will.
Well, I'm Mary Franklin with Linda with the Health Connection. Make it a happy and healthy day and sign up for this program at either service desk.
Coming up, we are replaying some of the week's best stories from ShellPoint TV. But before we do that, let's cover all of this weekend's happenings, Academy news, menus, and church news.
Hello everyone, I'm Leslie Brand and I'm here with Bev Chanley, and we are here to go over all the activities going on for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to start with Friday, June 13th at 8:15, Stamp Ministry in the Stamp Room. 8:30 is Beach Day. Court pickups start at 8:30 on the island, 8:40 at the Woodlands, and 8:50 at Eagles Preserve. Sign up is required. From 8:30 to 11:30 is the Marketplace in the Administration Courtyard. 9 o'clock, round robin doubles tennis will be at the tennis courts of the Woodlands. 10 o'clock, canasta in the game room. Also at 10 o'clock is genealogy in the stable room. 10:15, inquiring minds is in the manatee room on the island. 12:30 is mixed progressive bridge in the game room of the Woodlands. 1:15, table tennis in the tarpon room. Also at 1:15 is quilters in the Osprey room on the island. 1:30, vespers in the community room of the Arbor. 2 o'clock, bid euchre in the sable room of the Woodlands. 2:30, vespers in the community room of King's Crown. 3:30 is vespers at the Springs. And we're going to end Friday at 6:45, game night in the Resident Activity Center. Now here's Bev for Saturday activities.
Thank you, Leslie. We're going to start at 8 o'clock with pickleball at the pickleball court. And we have a lot of tennis this morning. We have an 8 o'clock round robin doubles tennis at the tennis courts. And at 9:30, we have both men's doubles tennis and women's doubles tennis. At 9:45, we have duplicate bridge down in the manatee room. We have a 10:15 model yacht sailing club outing at the Woodland Commons Lakes. At 1 o'clock, we have chess. That's played in the library lounge at the Resident Activity Center. 1:15 is the time you'll find Scrabble in the library lounge as well. And table tennis will be down at the tarpon room at 1:15, and that's open all weekend unless it's posted otherwise. At 2 o'clock, we have the Saturday DVD, Miracle of the White Stallions, a 1963 Disney film. That'll be in the Grand Cypress Room. At 3:15, we have basic line dancing in the Health Club. We jump to 6:30 for duplicate bridge. That's held in the Manatee Room on the island. And 7 o'clock, we have the Saturday DVD to show again the Miracle of the White Stallions. Those are about the Lipizzan stallions, which many of you went to a field trip on last January. That's in the Grand Cypress Room. Thanks for joining me Saturday. Here's Leslie for Sunday's activities.
Thank you, Bev. At 9 o'clock is morning worship in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. And if you missed that service, there's another one at 11 o'clock, morning worship, also in the Grand Cypress Room. 2:30 is Sunday matinee, witness for the prosecution, 1957 film in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. And to end Sunday with 6:15 evening service in the Social Center on the island. Well, thank you for joining us today for the weekend edition. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you here right back on Monday.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for the weekend. On Friday, June 13th at 10 o'clock, we have the second Coffee with a Neighbor this semester. This one, The Cycle of Love. It'll take place in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. Please don't forget to bring your ticket. At 1:15, our storytelling course continues in the Manatee Room on the island. I'd like to tell you about some new classes coming next week. On Tuesday, we have part 4 of a 4-session course, Introduction to English History, with Professor Adrian Kerr. And we have Florida's Wildlife, Past, Present, and Future, with author and naturalist Charles Sobczak. On Wednesday, a computer college class, touchscreen training for tablets and laptops, will be presented by Floyd Jamison of Parkwood. And on Thursday, Joe Kramer of Lakewood gives another computer class, After Basics.
Menus for the weekend. Friday in the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is marinated grilled tuna steak with marinated noodles and snow peas. For dinner, it's the seafood buffet for $15.95. And the soup is Manhattan clam chowder. Friday in the Island Cafe for lunch, smoked sausage sandwich with onion rings for $7.25. For dinner, chef choice, for $8.25. Friday night in the Palm Grill, we have specials: lamb chops for $22.95 or crab cakes for $16.95. Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. Saturday in the Island Cafe, lunch is a meatball sub with fresh fruit for $7.25. For dinner, enjoy a stuffed pork medallion with mashed potatoes and green beans for $8.25. Saturday in the Palm Grill is prime rib night for $19.95. On Sunday, the Crystal Room has its Father's Day brunch for $17.50, open from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the Island Cafe on Sunday, the lunch special is ham, egg, and cheese on an English muffin with fresh fruit for $7.25, and for dinner, chef's choice for $8.25. The Palm Grill is closed on Sundays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Greetings and welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm here with Pastor Andy Hawkins, and we're looking forward to the weekend. Want to share some things with you. Andy, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You have been working through the book of Hebrews now for a number of weeks, and you're still there.
Absolutely.
We'll be for a while. We're talking a little bit about our pioneer in various aspects of ministry. What are we looking forward to this week?
Well, we recognize that the book of Hebrews is really rich in terms of speaking about the person and work of our Lord Jesus Christ. And when we get into the second chapter, which is where we have been the last several weeks, he's called our archegos, and various translations have made that term in English either the captain of our salvation or the founder of our salvation or the pioneer of our salvation. So we've taken that term pioneer because he's someone who has blazed a trail, and he brings along other people to experience the blessings for which he has worked and sacrificed. And so we've been looking at various dimensions of his pioneering work. In this final week, we discover that he's our pioneer in sympathy. He's gone through all the temptations and all the experiences and all the afflictions that we have gone through so that he can help us, which is an extraordinarily positive dimension of the work of our Lord on our behalf, that we know that he's with us even in the trenches, even in the difficult times, because he's been there. That's an extraordinary blessing, and so we're looking forward to exploring that once again this week.
Very encouraging thought process as we lay these weeks on top of each other.
That's right.
I really appreciate it. We'll have a 9 o'clock service and an 11 o'clock service in the Grand Cypress Room because we're in transition right now with the renovation project. Between those services, we have a special fellowship time.
That's exactly right. We're asking folks to go to the early service, to maybe linger a while. There'll be some coffee and some other forms of some beverages and some cookies, perhaps, something like that, around which they can linger and then meet some of the folks and hopefully cross paths with some of the folks who come a little early for the later service, so that they can make some connections with people that maybe they haven't seen just because there have been 2 services during this summer. So that'll be a wonderful opportunity for fellowship together.
It will be. We'll probably be looking for opportunities to just promote fellowship over the course of the summer, and this is one of those.
That's exactly right.
So we encourage people to take advantage of that. Then Sunday night, we've got a very special guest that's going to be with us.
That's right.
I always look forward to this. Tell us who it'll be.
Absolutely. Well, this fellowship, this congregation, even this community has been very familiar with the work of Dan Nesselrode, his family with Marcy and their children, and they're in a bit of a transition now. He's been ministering, of course, for quite a number of years at the Kudiala Hospital in Mali, in Africa, but they'll be coming home for a period of time, and looking forward to hearing from Dan this coming Sunday evening, and he'll be sharing about the nature of the ministry and the reasons for the transition that they're involved in. We'll actually be having 2 opportunities to hear from him on Sunday evening, simply because the interest is great, and we have a limited space in the social center. And so we're going to have 2 services. They'll be the same services on Sunday evening. One at 4:45 and the other at 6:15 at the regular time. And so we hope that folks will balance those 2 periods of time out so they'll have plenty of room for everyone and have a wonderful opportunity to hear from our brother.
That's an important note for everybody to just make a mental note of. 2 services this Sunday night, just this one Sunday night.
That's right.
But because of our limited space, we just feel like that would be important to do that. We have been the sending church for Dan and Marcy. And as you said, we've loved them and cared for them, and we still do.
Indeed.
It's always a treat to hear them when they come back.
Special people.
They are. So Sunday morning, 9 and 11, with the fellowship time in between. Sunday night at 4:45 and 6:15 with Dr. Dan Nessarode. Please join us. We'd love to see you there. Have a wonderful day.
It's time for our ShellPoint TV Week in Review, and we began this week with a trip to Northern California, recently undertaken by a group of intrepid ShellPoint travelers. Interested in learning what other upcoming trips are available? Then come to the Icings Travel Showcase happening Monday at 10:30 a.m. in the Grand Cypress Room. All are welcome. You're also invited to a Health Connection class in managing chronic diseases. They're calling it It's All About You.
I'm Mary Franklin with the Health Connection program, and I am so pleased to be able to offer this program once again to the Shell Point residents. Lee Memorial has been bringing this program out to Shell Point, and it is called It's All About You, Chronic Disease Self-Management Program. It's a very important program for those that deal with any chronic illness in their life and gives them an opportunity to learn how to function and deal with such diseases. Here today we have a wonderful group of ladies. We have Joyce Hall from Lee Memorial Hospital, Barb Boynton from Shell Point, and Barbara Heatherly from Shell Point as well. And the two Barbs, Barb and Barbara, are here today because they are graduates of this program, and actually they are going to become teachers of this program. So we're very pleased to have them here to give their own testimony. But Joyce, let's start with you. Tell us about you and your role in Lee Memorial, and then go into the program a little bit.
I am a master's prepared nurse, and my title is Community Health Program Coordinator with Lee Health Solutions, which people know them for their diabetes education.
Right.
And so this is a community education program to help those individuals who have chronic illness deal with a lot of the symptoms and other issues that they deal with on an ongoing basis. So we teach them skills to use ongoing. It is a research-based program out of Stanford University, and Lee Memorial was blessed with a grant from Southwest Florida Community Foundation to help us start the program a year ago. As of now, we have completed over 16 workshops and graduated over 120 individuals.
I'm so pleased to see the success, because when we started a year ago, it was just getting started, and you have impacted so many lives in the last year.
And it's fun. I love it. I love interacting with people, and I love seeing the progress that they make during the 6-week program.
And there are 3 very important components of this program. It is not just focusing on the chronic disease itself or condition, it's also focusing on yourself and your own well-being. What are those 3 components?
Well, we have action planning as one of the big ones, because we do that every week. And decision making is another one of the big ones. And people say, well, I know how to make decisions, but we actually give them the tools to help them really evaluate their decisions. So those are 2 of the biggest ones that we deal with.
Well, Barb, you took the class already.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, right? And then you're going to become a leader in this class. And for you, the action planning was very important.
Right.
What did you take away from this program?
Well, I think the biggest thing I took was to be accountable, to plan the action for the week and work on it with a timeline the week. And also, we had to indicate our confidence level, which may have really been very low at first, but then it became higher later. And I think that is one of the very best things about the program.
You walk out of there holding your head high and know that you can.
And I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, and whatever I decide to do, I keep on working on it.
Now, Barbara, you experienced a positive when it came to stress management. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Right. I found myself in a situation and used the stress management skills I learned. So it was breathing techniques and other things, which I found very helpful.
Why were you so empowered that you now want to be a leader and help other people with this program?
I thought besides helping other people, it would help me to continue to use these skills so I get better. The more you use them, the better you get at doing that. So it's going to help me too.
And you do, Joyce, share stories and so forth in the group, but this is a motivational program. It's not a sob story program. Who should be coming to this? Who should be signing up?
someone who really wants to make a difference in their life, who wants to increase their quality of life, who wants to learn how to better handle issues such as problems with sleep, depression, fatigue, fear, things that are seen commonly with people who have a chronic health condition, because we help them learn about that symptom cycle, but we also give them tools to help break that symptom cycle so that they can be more independent and better self-managers.
Okay. Well, this is a wonderful program that is, like you said, it has been researched and documented. You follow a book along the way. If you would like to sign up for this program, it is offered twice during this Health Connection program series. You can check out all the details in your Health Connection and call the service desk to sign up. I'm Mary Franklin with 3 fabulous ladies here today, and we hope you make it a happy and healthy day.
Ruth Duber is back with another recipe from her What's Cooking kitchen, spinach quiche.
Hello, this is Ruth Duber with What's Cooking at Shell Point. I have a fun recipe today. I like it so much because I serve it for company. It can be a filling breakfast or a brunch or a lunch or even a supper. It's a spinach quiche, and I have done a little preparation ahead of time, but we'll start with 2 eggs. And I use large eggs. And we're going to whisk this up a little bit. Sometimes if you don't do this ahead of time, whisk the eggs, it doesn't really get mixed in with the rest of the ingredients very well. So, and it calls for 3 tablespoons of milk. Oops, I spilled a little in there, so make that a little short. 2 tablespoons of chopped onions. Calls for mushrooms, and I use the stems and the pieces, and you want to drain them. And I've measured the ham ahead of time. Calls for 3/4 cup. This is the diced ham, and so we're going to put that in. This is about a half a package, so you do have enough in 1 package to make 2. And the same with the Swiss cheese. I had a hard time finding the Swiss cheese. This is the only kind. It's a little more expensive, but it's a lot easier than grating it yourself. And so this is 3/4 cup. And here's your key ingredient. It's Stouffer's spinach souffle. And you defrost it. And then you mix it in with all of this wonderful, flavorful stuff. And now this is going to bake in a 400-degree oven for 25 to 30 minutes. The one I baked earlier today, it was about 26 minutes, and it was finished. Make sure it's all mixed together. And then we pour it into an unbaked pie crust. And keep your fingers crossed that it all goes in without overflowing. And that's all there is to it. I think it's very easy. As I say, this goes into a 400-degree oven. I'm just going to put this over here. And voila. We have one that I baked earlier. Because of the length of time that it has to bake, I found it easier this morning to bake it ahead of time. So we're going to cut a slice. And this is still warm. And there it is. I'm going to try a bite of it here. And as I say, I hope you'll try it. I think it's mighty good. I'll put it up on the website. And fun eating. That's all for now. Bye-bye.
We talked to the new president of the Pavilion Auxiliary, Renee Maxwell.
Hello everyone, I'm here today with the new president of the Pavilion Auxiliary. Her name is Renee Maxwell and she lives at Harbor Court. Thank you for joining me, Renee.
You're welcome, I'm glad to be here.
So you've been the president of the Pavilion Auxiliary for almost a half a year now.
I've been a part of the Pavilion Auxiliary for this is my 5th year. And the last 2 years I was vice president and got into a lot of new things then. I've also been a chairman and also been working as a volunteer for all those years. So all those things come into play, and it's a good thing. As we're talking through this year, we're finding that we're working on 2 main goals this year that came from our administration and also some of our staff, so that we're working a little bit on our activities committee and our dining committee.
Let's talk a little bit about activities. I mean, activities are so important to all of us, and we have so many options here at Shell Point. Don't we want to make sure we have those options right in our skilled nursing facility?
We do, and they are there, but we're trying to add more and trying to work around them maybe in different ways. So we're trying to strengthen our activities committee, and it has been going on working with the staff and certainly with the volunteers. So we're trying to, and I know Terry has brought so many more opportunities for us to be able to mention to other functions that are going on at Shell Point to be able to come and offer their help and their ideas for helping to support the activities that are available for us.
We always say if you enjoy doing something, probably someone in the skilled nursing facility would enjoy it too. Exactly. So if you enjoy maybe a craft or maybe a certain subject, you might want to come and share it on a one-time or a regular basis with our residents. And if so, we would love to bring you into our activities committee to provide even more one-on-one or person-centered care activities for our residents.
And that's already happening. It has been there, but we're building on it. And just the other day, someone mentioned, well, this lady is working with finger painting or whatever it may be. Why not? Bring that in too. Let it be available. The people are there. Get them out. We have so many groups that are involved in our activities. They went fishing with the group the other day. I think there were like 30 that went out there. There's so many different ways that we can get them up and out and enjoy everything that's there. It's not all new. It certainly has been there, but we're adding to it.
We're offering more opportunities to residents to take part, be a part of the activities here. Well, dining companions, let's talk about that a little bit, because we'll probably be always looking for dining companions. Always. We'd love to have somebody sitting with every single one of our residents in the pavilion at every meal. But so far, we're focusing on our memory care unit. And we have a group that goes in at lunchtime, a group that goes in at dinner time. And if anybody's willing to spend that 45 minutes to an hour, we'd love to have them join our Dining Companions Committee.
And it's not a frightening thing. It's maybe I can do it just Monday. That's fine. Whatever you can do, it's very flexible and it's very rewarding, and it's also very specially needed. So we appreciate that, and we're always open to listening to the volunteers that are working in a certain area and volunteering there to be open to little changes that maybe need to be made, and we're always building on what's there and positively doing that.
Sure. I always like to mention, when I have every opportunity to mention it, that people are moving into our community all the time, and people's lives are changing in our community all the time. So we like to keep people's minds on the auxiliary. It's a wonderful way not only to make a difference in people's lives, but to make new friends.
Exactly.
And enrich our own lives in that service.
And I see that as I work, just even these 5 years there and supporting it all, you see so many people, and certainly definitely at the orientation, that have just maybe moved in, and after they see the presentation of the 18 committees, they're like, oh, that's there, I could do that. And you'll always say, or we'll always say, well, did you pick a couple? Yeah, I think I'd like to do several of those. You know, let's start with one. And so that's their way in. And I think, too, that they feel a support that's always there. And certainly the chairman help them as they come in. They support with them. They, if you want to use the word train, but they do. You know, they work with them so that you know exactly what you're going to be doing there. And then take a part. And once you're there, you're hooked. And I think that's a very grateful thing.
Well, Renee, I'm delighted to be able to work with you as our new president of the Pavilion Auxiliary. We have a good time. We get a lot done. It's really a pleasure.
And we're enjoying our year, and I've enjoyed my year with the support of the board, and I really think that's so important for me to say because we depend on them so much. I want them all to be a part of what we're doing. Certainly they're all committed to everything that's here because that board is also, those people on that board are all volunteers in some way. Most of them are chairmen of different committees, and we're the ones that can, you know, continue to be supportive to our volunteers and certainly to our chairman and all of it that goes together in this one wonderful spot.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me today. I urge you to look around your neighborhood or as you're walking past the Larson Pavilion, if you see one of these wonderful people wearing a blue jacket, ask them about the work that they're doing in the skilled nursing facility. Find out what's available and consider joining us.
We talked to 2 Shell Point housekeepers who deal with the challenges of being totally deaf. Tim Stevenson told us about construction of a new central fountain for the island, which you can be involved in.
The fountain here on the island in the administrative circle has been an important part of the history of Shell Point since the early days. In fact, so much so that the first fountain here was actually incorporated into the early logo for Shell Point. That first fountain is not familiar to most of us because it was replaced in 1993, but it has come once again time to replace the fountain and this area. This time, I'm happy to say that the vision for the fountain will include it as somewhat of a gathering place and a place for memorials. As you'll see as the construction completes, the fountain itself is just a little smaller than was here before. There is an outer bowl with an inner bowl with a fountain that will spritz up and of course run over the walls of the bowl. Surrounding the fountain itself will be a paver patio and some benches so that it really becomes a very peaceful, restful gathering for residents and our families. And then there will be opportunities to memorialize a relationship, to remember a loved one. We have a number of places at Shell Point where people have memorialized a relationship or remembered a loved one. We have benches, we have a variety of things that serve as amenities to Shell Point, but we feel especially good about the replacement fountain that will go in here. There will be 8 to 10 opportunities to memorialize that relationship or remember a loved one. They will be bronze plaques that will be put around the base of the fountain. Those opportunities will be made available for contributions in the $10,000 to $15,000 range and should give us all a place to gather, meet friends, and enjoy life together here at Shell Point. So as you see the construction move forward and as you see it begin to take shape, this will give you a little bit of a sense of what we're planning. If this is something that interests you, and if you'd like to talk more about this, please give us a call at the Legacy Foundation at 466-8484. We'll be glad to share any information we have about the new fountain.
Dan Warner of Turbin is presenting an Academy class Friday morning, calling it The Cycle of Love.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Dan Warner of Turbin, and he is going to share some interesting information with us in Coffee with a Neighbor tomorrow, and I hope you'll join us. Dan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the opportunity to share some of your story and the Coffee with a Neighbor. I hope people have not thrown out their May issue of Shell Point Life yet, because it was the greatest article about you. And we all know a little bit about your achievements and how you got started. But in this program, we're going to talk about what it was like to be a columnist interviewing people.
I was actually a management person, okay, for vast majority of my career. So the column was the fun part. That was my recreation. Although when it interfered with my other work, then I, But anyhow, the column was a fun part because it's when you interact with people and when you hear people's stories and I hardly ever did formal interviews. I did discussions and then I went and wrote about it. And sometimes, I'd be at lunch with somebody or somewhere and we'd talk about something and then I'd call them later and say, hey, can I do a column on that? And I think I got the real people out of that.
So something about their story and something about your mind went together to pull it into a whole new realm.
And yeah, I think so. Well, I learned things. And as a matter of fact, in the talk, I'm going to talk about 3 things I learned from talking to people. Now, there are many things, and everybody'd have a different reaction. But there were themes, and over the years, you'd pick up these themes, and you'd learn stuff. I mean, about life, about not just the individual, but people in general.
Did you find, I'm curious, did you find that the young people, the children and the young people looked at things in a certain way, the more middle-aged people were looking at things in a certain way, and then those of us who are older and more senior looked at things in a different way? Was it pretty clear-cut?
Well, young people tended to be more surface. You know, they hadn't had the life experiences, and also the confidence to really let go. Out of many older people, such as myself, like to talk, like to tell their story. And as a matter of fact, that's one of the big themes, is that one of my beliefs is that, you know, when you tell your story over and over and over again, in whatever way, a journal or talking to people, whatever way, you come across those points where you met God's grace. And if you're paying attention, you can look for it there, and it opens up your life to many wonders.
I think that's one of the things I've enjoyed about your column over the years, is that you do look at something in a unique way that encourages other people to savor what's going on in their lives.
Yeah.
Savor it. It's an experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you. My purpose is to get people to pay less attention to me and more to themselves, to use that as a catalyst to look at themselves.
Well, it's the everydayness also that you have a knack with. You know, the everyday, this is just what happens in every day, but stop for a minute, folks, and look at what this means.
Yeah. I like to get people to do that. You know, I like to, because what they find is, I mean, look, they know about all their problems. They know about all their woes. They know about how they messed everything up when they were 20 years old. Okay. What they don't recognize sometimes is the richness within themselves, and the way other people see them, and the way and the spiritual part of you that comes to the fore when you're telling your story.
So telling your story. Wow, what David Singer has done, what you do with columns. Pulling that story out of someone and encouraging us to examine our own story, that does show how rich our life has been.
Yeah.
So when you're talking in this program, The Cycle of Love, you're going to be sharing the truths that you've pulled out of 30 years of interviewing people.
Right. And I'll do it with examples.
Fabulous.
I mean, I'll actually read some stories and maybe tell some others. Yeah.
Do you think when you look back on this career, which is still going, which is fabulous, do you think that what are some of the things that come to your mind about having gone in this direction with your own life?
Well, it's taught me to feel more. Okay, and it's incredible how people run from their feelings. I mean, and that's, the feelings are the core of who we are, and it taught me to look at that and you know, actually feel what's going on within me and within other people. I think that's one thing. And another thing I learned, we're all brothers and sisters, and we see that more often, and this may startle you, more often in our pain than we do in our successes and our joys. And because when somebody is in pain and you're talking to them, you merge with them. You know, you care about them. And this is where I think that humanity is connected.
Fabulous. Well, I hope that you see from this interview that you'll have some well-spent time if you join us tomorrow. Coffee with a Neighbor, some time with Dan Warner to look at how he has shared feelings with others and inspired us to look at our own feelings and our own lives. Coffee with a Neighbor, 10 o'clock, Grand Cypress Room.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in next week for more stories and news from around your community. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for the weekend of June 13th, 14th, and 15th. I'm Kara Minowie. From all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.